All right, so as you guys finished up at the match, Malibu had won. He had cemented his place as this newcomer that everybody dubbed the Dolphin Man, and he was a quick, fast favorite among the people who were watching. And just as the excitement from his win against the Jumpin' Man starts to die down, you guys see Malibu start to look a little nervous and shifty, and he looks off and he looks at you guys and he says, I hate to do this to you guys again, but I really got to go. I I'll explain later. I gotta duck out of here, guys. And then he just leaves.
Uh-huh. Well, we got a paycheck to make. Let's get rolling.
You must have a hot date.
You guys have your 2 jobs. Head into find some data and also to head into Brilliant Genesis, the Trid studio. So what are you guys gonna do? How are you gonna approach this? What are we doing now?
Okay, so we're pretty much down to the 3 of us. I'm assuming the house is just going to drive the car until next week. Do we head straight there? I don't see any reason why we shouldn't just head straight there. Do you have anything you need to prep or get?
This sounds like it should be pretty much a milk run. Just go in there and get the
there
data.
you did it.
Yeah. Should we do any kind of matrix searches on the place, on this Brilliant Genesis place before we head over?
Yeah. See if it doesn't have any lingering security or isn't gang turf or something.
I mean, I can always go astral and check it out before we get over there. Also.
All right. Case will go ahead and go into VR and do a search, and also do a search for any gang territories in the area and the conditions on the ground as far as whether it's still a radioactive hotspot. I'm not sure where this is compared to the blast zone and all that.
Go ahead and give me a roll for a matrix search, just computer plus intuition.
2 successes.
All right. From your search, there's not a lot that you know about other than that it was a former, Trid company. You do know that they, like is the story for many things around Chicago, they went down with the city. They were struggling a little bit beforehand, but having trouble keeping up with the technology. They'd been around for a while, but when the bomb got dropped, that was the end of them. They kind of went down as the city started going downhill.
Well, we can always just go head over there. If y'all think it's going to be pretty easy, there's no reason to waste any money, so we can just go head over there. I'll do a quick astral look around, and if not, we don't see anything, then we can just head on in. Shouldn't be too bad.
I've actually got a contact that owes me one. I'm going to go and give Ralphie a call. And he's the data fence, the librarian. And see if he has any data on this place that he may be willing to share.
We'll do that in just a second. I wanted to not clarify, but I just looked up the rules for matrix searching. Technically, it's an extended test. So if you wanted to continue to look, you could. It just depends on how long you want to search for it on your own.
Yeah, I'd like to get some more information. I can do that in the van on the way there. How far are we from the location? We know what the location is, right?
It's really not that far away. It's about 30 minutes. You could probably, in game terms, get another roll of the dice in for a matrix search on the way there.
Go ahead and do that. It's like an extended test, right? So I lose 1?
Yeah, so you'll subtract 1 die from your roll here.
3 successes.
All right, so that totals 5, correct? All right, so yeah, you found a little bit more information. Seems like they had a building down there. They had a big soundstage complex on the north side, Chicago. They moved away from sort of the Trio business moved away from their soundstage. They converted it into a sort of theme park. kind of like some future version of Universal Studios, and it was actually a whole Neil the Orc Barbarian theme park with a giant giant like settings right out of the Trid show. For those of you not aware, Neil the Orc Barbarian is just it was an old TV show in like the 2050s. Yeah, it was what it sounds like, kind of like a Tarzan, but a guy named Neil, and he was an orc barbarian.
Were you going to do some astral recon when we got there?
Yeah, I'm just kind of having trouble thinking why an orc barbarian would be named Neil. Just strikes me as odd. But yeah, when we get there, I'm going to go ahead and do just an astral look around of the place.
All right. While he's doing that, I'm actually going to look up. I still want to contact Ralphie and want to try to do a search for, more specifically, security and floor plans of the building.
Yonkers is just going to be loading up his Mossberg and making sure that we're ready to walk in and have deterrence if we run into issues.
All right, so he answers the phone, says, when you call him, he says, "Hello, Case."
Hey, Ralphie, got something I'm looking for here. I thought maybe you might have some information on this film studio. They produced Neil, the Orc Barbarian, and I was wondering if you maybe had some information on maybe some good trids they had also produced, or maybe anything you're interested while I'm snooping around in their server as their host here.
Oh, are you spending some time up there in Chicago? I do know about Brilliant Genesis. They did produce that Neil the Orc Barbarian show. They even had a theme park in Chicago. Is that where you are?
That's where we are, for better or worse.
Hey, I hear there's a lot of good business out there right now, but yeah, for better or worse is true. What information I do have there is limited. I'm not gonna try to charge you for anything like that because I don't think I'd have much to give you anyway. That place, like I said, it was mostly known for Neil the Orc Barbarian stuff, and uh, that was when they opened that up. It was like too little too late kind of a deal. They were going downhill, but so was the show, and they were hoping it was going to be their kind of saving grace. But then, what happened to Chicago, and that place went out of business a long time ago. Is there anything in specific you're looking to know?
Like I was saying, pretty much any other interesting data that I might be keep an eye out for while I'm here. Anything that you may be interested in. If you happen to know anything on the building itself, that might be helpful, but I think I may have some other avenues for that.
I'm not so sure that anything there is, if you see anything that really jumps out at you, but that place is old news, I think.
Those elf hipsters, they like that old stuff.
Well, you take it easy out there in the old Bug City case.
All right, you stay easy, and anything comes your way I need to know, let me know.
As always. As you guys start getting your way over to Brilliant Genesis, the location you were given, the address provided by Mr. Johnson is a small 2-story office building directly connected to a 4-story brick building that consumes the remainder of that whole city block. Like many properties around the CZ, the unmistakable smell of death permeates the area. Regardless of how many times people say the old blast zone is safe, few people want to live this close to it. Surely it has nothing to do with what appear to be skulls hanging in the tree to the left of the door. The front of the office building is boarded up with scraps of metal and debris to form a makeshift barricade that seals the door and windows. Around the back of the large building is a large metal rolling door with some concrete pylons out front. Real fast, everybody give me a perception test.
Yonkers has a solid 3.
Davros has 4.
Case gets 2.
All right, Davros happens to notice when he sees the skulls, and and maybe it's, Davros is a little bit more. He's a little bit more intrigued by the skulls. Maybe it's from his academic background. Maybe it's from the fact that he's still getting used to, this kind of grim lifestyle. But he spends a little bit more time looking at it and identifies that there are 6 various human and metahuman skulls hanging in a tree out front of the building. So if you're going to go ahead and jump into the astral, go ahead and do that for me, and tell me what you want to do. When you jump into the astral, of course, you notice the normal background count of the containment zone. That's in game mechanics terms, that's a -2. This place is pretty run down, rotten, and there's not a lot of life going on here other than street trash. But
all right, I'm just going to sit down and go astral, and I'm just gonna look around first around the building, around the perimeter, and then head on inside and check in all the rooms, see if I see any life or any interesting auras that I might happen across.
All right, well, go ahead and give me a perception test for you kind of scanning the outside.
Ooh, 0 successes.
All right, well, you don't seem to notice anything outside.
Right. All right, well then I will head inside.
Well, when you go in, there's 2 main entrances you can go through. There's the front entrance, the front door, and then there's that rolling door that I described that's out back. Which one would you like to? How would you like to approach?
I would like to go in the front door.
All right. When you get into the front door, you kind of push your astral form through the door there and make it to the other side. And there's not a lot going on in there either. It looks like kind of an office building, maybe. It's big, open area, and again, from the astral plane, everything, there's not a lot of organic going on there. So it's kind of muffled and muddled. It's hard to make out what everything is from in the astral plane, but there's not a lot interesting that going on in there. Go ahead and give me another perception test so we can see if you notice anything inside the building.
2 successes.
Yeah. Again, you're not really seeing anything that jumps out at you inside the building. Everything looks like a kind of wide open area, but there's nothing going on there. There is a door at the other end, and near that door, a sort of staircase.
Is the door I see at the back, is that the metal door?
The door you see at the back is not the rolling door, if that's what you're referring to. No.
Okay.
It does appear that it might be some solid, heavy material door. Possibly metal. It's difficult to tell from the astral plane, but it looks more like a standard door.
All right, can I see if I can go through the door?
Yeah, you should be able to push yourself through it.
All right, and this is just another empty room?
This one is a little bit more interesting. It's actually, give me one more perception test to see if you kind of can make out what's going on in here. 3 successes. All right, yeah. Something looks really odd in here. It looks like, it's not a lot of organic anything, okay? You do notice there's some water in here that's pooled in the middle of a very large, very high room. The ceiling of this room is very high up. I mean, this is a very large open area. Again, like I said, there's some water in here that's collected and pooled. And you can definitely tell that because that's going to have some sort of astral signature. It's an element. It's elemental in nature, But something's really odd here. It looks like almost these weird amorphous things that are not organic, but they look like they might be trees. But they're obviously not trees. Because trees would light up nice and bright in the astral plane, being living organic material.
Interesting. Okay, well, after I take a good look in there, I'm going to go back out through the door I came through. Oh, I don't see that rolling door in here, do I?
I'm going to say no, you don't see it, but there was a lot going on in there. If you want to try to take another look, you could. You'd have to take a -1 on that perception test. It would take a little bit longer, but there was a lot of weird stuff going on in there, and it's kind of hard to make out rolling door. Like, maybe there was a door, but was it a rolling door? I don't know, because it's hard to make out a lot of things like that from the astral plane.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, then I'm just gonna go out through the door I came through, and then you said there was a staircase. I'm gonna go up the staircase and see if there's anything on the second floor.
The staircase goes down.
Okay.
Not that should make a difference for you.
I'm gonna go down, check out the basement. The creepy basement.
All right. You can tell that there's some small living creatures down here, and it's also kind of gives you the feeling of kind of a dank, rancid kind of area with. There's water down there, and maybe the water's been stagnant for a really long time. But there are definitely some large, four-legged creatures down there.
When you say large, are we talking like rodent size, or?
You could try to take a closer look at one of them.
All right. Yep. I will do that. Is that in a sensing roll?
Yeah. Go ahead and a sense.
2 successes.
You can tell that they're devil rats.
Devil.
That's what I'll tell you. In order for you to know more about devil rats, you'd have to have some sort of like animal handling or
I have a parazoology.
paracritters knowledge. Parazoology? Okay, great. Then roll that for me.
5 successes.
Yeah. You definitely identify. You definitely can tell that there's some devil rats in there. They're hiding. They're not like just scurrying around. And you know that devil rats are like their normal rat cousins in a way that they like to keep to the dark and they like to keep to themselves, and unless threatened but they are called devil rats for a reason. They can be pretty dangerous.
Okay, so are those the only animals I see?
That's what you see down there. Yeah, the room isn't terribly large. It's not a tiny room or anything, but it's nowhere near as big as the other room you were in with all the weird stuff in it.
Alrighty. Well, if I don't see anything else, then I will head back to my body. Get up and just tell everybody the back room. There's this huge back room. The ceiling's really big. I didn't see anything living, but there was all sorts of things going on in this room. There were like these tree things. They looked like trees, but they weren't trees. I don't know. There's some like rats in the basement, but nothing too worrisome. I don't think so. I think we're good.
What was wrong with the trees in the back? Were you saying?
I don't know. It was this really big room with these high ceilings, and there was some water in the middle of the room that's kind of pulled up. And I don't know. There was just, I wasn't, they didn't light up like trees. They didn't look like trees in the astral plane, but they kind of did, but not really. If I know it's hard to explain, but I don't know. It was weird.
And this was in the building?
Yeah. There was just this room in the back. It had really tall ceilings. It was a huge room.
All right. Well, I say we try to avoid that one if we can.
And so there's a basement. There's some stairs going down to a basement right before you get to that room. But I didn't see anything down there other than some rats. So I'm not sure where this data node is. But I guess that's your territory there, Case.
Yeah, my guess would be in the basement. It's but we may not need to go all the way down in the basement for me to get into it. What about living, moving objects in there as far as people, anything we need to worry about?
No, I didn't see no people. The only living things I saw were the rats, the devil rats.
Oh, I must have missed that the first time around. Devil rats?
Yeah. Apparently they're just nothing too bad. They're just like normal rats. They just like the dark. But you don't want to piss them off too bad because they still bite and stuff. But they don't have wings they don't have wings or talons or anything, or not talons, like pitchforks. So don't worry about that.
All right, no pointy tails. All right, well, I guess it's a good thing I brought my pistol with me.
Probably not a big deal.
So, what do you think there, Yonkers? What is our entry plan?
I mean, as you guys put it, it sounds like the only thing we have to deal with is the frickin' devil rats. That sound about right?
Yeah, as far as living things goes, I don't know. Who knows if there's any kind of traps or anything, but no people at least.
Yeah, and Prof didn't see anybody. I didn't find any indications as far as cyber or anything going on around here. I'm guessing I didn't anyway. I say, as much as I hate to have these words come out of my mouth, it really does sound like a milk run.
Let's kick in the door, see what happens. So Yonkers is going to pull out the Mossberg, put the sling on, get his gear together, drop some of his B&E tools in the crowbar and some pockets, hold the crowbar in his hand, and keep his eyes up and start making his way with a stealthy lope to the door.
Okay, Case will go in behind him. He's going to have his his cult agent drawn, and this time I think he's probably going to not only have his vest but also his ballistic mask on, just in case.
Right. Well, the three of you guys get loaded up, and Haunted House says that he will hold the vehicle and be ready for you guys if you need a quick getaway. So you guys jump out of the vehicle and leave the relative safety of your armored vehicle and head towards the front door and through the quiet yet not quiet street of the dilapidated containment zone. You head up to that front door and you get to the front and you notice that the metal door there is locked.
All right. Is there any sort of window on it? Something to let me see through the door?
There is not.
All right. What sort of lock are we dealing with? Is this key card, actual physical lock? What?
It's an actual physical lock. It would have to be picked.
All right. Believe I have a auto picker, but I'm just going to do a quick examination. This is a metal door, you said?
Let's see. The front of the office building is boarded up with scraps of metal. There's a makeshift barricade that seals the doors and windows. You can get through that easily. The front of the building has a distinct stench of rotting flesh that maybe matches the skulls that you see in the tree outside and rancid meat around. The locked door is covered in layers of rusted metal that look to be old pin, and it looks to be an old pin and tumbler lock, like I described, or like I suggested. So yeah, that's what you're looking at in terms of the door.
Okay, well, we'll try and be sophisticated first, and I'll pull out the auto picker. 3 successes to auto pick the door.
This is an extended test, so go ahead and give me another one with a -1.
4 successes.
So that's a total of 7 successes. Yeah, it doesn't take you guys long, maybe 4 or 5 seconds, and fiddling with the auto picker, click, 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 click. You know, Davros is back in the back, looking around nervously. You know, while Case has got his gun up and looking around, but pretty quickly Yonkers is able to defeat the lock, and you hear the click, click, and the door is unlocked.
All right. Well, with my torsion bar, I open the. Turn the lock over and then take a step back, motion with my hand for a Case to grab the door as I pull up my gun and click on the light.
You talking about like the light on your gun?
Yeah, I have a light on the end of the shotgun.
All right. Well, after opening the door, you see a large open area. It's the size of the. It's the size. The whole open area is the size of the office building. It looks like all the interior walls, including the whole second story, have been removed by fire. Several large piles of debris are scattered around the floor. Go ahead and give me a perception test.
5 successes.
With 5 successes, you actually notice that there are some piles of... some of those piles that have been moved around look like they're nests for some like dog-sized creatures. You also notice, much as was described to Davros, there's an open staircase that goes down on the other side of this, on one side of this office building, and a steel door that's missing the glass window. that sits along the backside of this big building.
All right, well, it looks like we got our devil rat nests. Eyes up. If I remember right, they're pretty territorial about this sort of stuff. Gonna hug a wall and start making my way around the perimeter. I figure we should check this floor first. I'm gonna go to the first floor with the broken window, or the door with the broken window, following the edge of the room and kind of keeping my eyes up and paying attention.
I am in VR, and I am actively searching for any nodes in VR, and I'm sorry, not VR, in AR, and on the walls and everywhere, looking for any maybe physical jack points into the host.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there is anything immediately that jumps out at you. As you move across the room, how about everybody give me a sneaking test? It's very quiet in there, and you're very aware of your movements as you slowly make it through this office building and through these strange nest things that you are now thinking might be devil rat nests.
2 successes.
3 successes.
3 successes for Devers.
All right, you guys are making your way pretty nicely and quietly. There's not a lot there. You notice that more and more of those nests, like I said, just a couple here and there and along the way, but you're able to make it past there pretty quietly all the way to the other end of the room, to that door, and that I said is a big metal door that looks like it used to have a glass pane on it, but it doesn't anymore. But you're able to get there.
As they're walking around, Devers is gonna saddle up beside either Yonkers or Case, whoever's closer, and talk to them in a very fast whispered voice about how devil rats make their nests and how interesting they are, and how they have to go for miles around to find the ingredients they need to make their nests, and how they never leave it for more than just 2 hours at a time, and just other interesting facts.
Case just looks at him. I can wait for the biology lesson when we're done.
Come on, man. This stuff is cool.
They're called devil rats, and I don't think that's because of their sweet disposition. Let's not try to wake them up. Don't go try and pet any, are you?
In my dreams, maybe.
So when you make it up to the door, how do you want to? Are you gonna try to look through the window? What's your game plan here?
I'm going to slice the pie through the glass as I come around. The light's going to give me away either way, but just sort of shuffle. So as I come around the corner, I'm keeping my gun where I'm looking in front of me and look through the glass slowly. You said the glass was broken?
Yes, there was a pane there, and there's no longer a glass pane there. It's just kind of a hole now. The shards aren't even there. It's been that glass pane has been gone for a while.
Looks like someone might have been making shivs. Nothing through the... Is it a hallway or what's on the other side of the door?
Give me a quick perception test since you're looking through that small hole.
I am Captain Perceptive.
Yeah, you really are. 5 hits, huh? All right, well, what you can tell is that it's a large 4-story facility through this door. It looks like, as you're looking through it, it looks like it's decorated like you just traveled back in time. There's these giant 2-story tall trees that look to be like twice as thick as they should be for the height that they are. Because it's limited to 4 stories, but they're these giant trees, and in the distance you can see what looks like a swamp. And on the eastern side of the facility, there seems to be a little cave entrance. And I'm assuming you're looking through with your light, right? That's how you're able to see all these things.
Yeah. Well, I guess we found their prop stage for Grogneck the Barbarian.
Give me a quick reaction plus intuition roll. And tell me how many hits you get.
7.
7 hits. You are rolling like crazy today. Okay, well then this is what happens. you suddenly, your spidey sense starts to tingle, so to speak. Like you're doing it, and you hear just barely in time the sounds of a faint whir and whistle in the air, and that just instinctively makes you dodge out of the way. And as you just barely swing back and pull your gun out of the way, an arrow comes flying through that window and hits the ground on outside, and you hear a loud booming voice say, "You are now in Lost One's territory. Leave. We do not wish to harm you, but we will defend this place with our lives."